Am I the asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend because of his food insecurities? I'm not sure if food insecurity is the correct term, but it's the term he uses to describe what this is. And honestly, I've been with him for 3 years and this is the first I'm hearing of it. So, I came into this relationship with two kids, a 10-year daughter and a 12-year son. I didn't introduce my BF and the kids until maybe 8 months ago. And lately, Ben BF has been coming and staying here with us more often than not. Sometimes he will spend days at a time here and only go home maybe once a week. Well, more and more lately, I've noticed little signs of weird food quirks of his that I'm not okay with. Like, he eats enough for easily 5 people's day worth of food. Or instead of letting my kids dish out their own food, as I've always done, he's been doing it and giving them maybe 3/4 of what they would usually eat, but then loading his plate up to the fullest it could possibly get. I pay for all the food, just so we are aware. There was one time last week that my daughter had asked for more food and he spoke up and said there isn't enough for everyone to have seconds. I actually stepped in and said that she could have more and there was plenty for the kids to have seconds. I didn't tell him this, but I was so grossed out by it because he literally had enough on his plate to feed 3 people, and if he had just taken a normal helping like everyone else then there would have been plenty left over. But anyways, I spoke to him about it that night and told him that the kids come first. They eat until they are full, and that is how it goes in my house. He kind of put his hands up and said sorry, won't happen again. And said he just figured it wasn't fair to everyone else who wanted seconds because there wasn't enough for everyone. I'm assuming he meant himself. But anyways, he apologized so I let it go. But then yesterday evening, he went grocery shopping for me because both my kids had events, and I had a bunch of other stuff I had to do, and I simply didn't have time to grocery shop as well. So he told me he would go for me. I sent him with my money more than enough and a very specific list. Well, I had plain bagels and original cream cheese on the list. He comes back with 3 different types of bagels, onion and chive, everything. Cinnamon raisin no, plain as I'd asked for, and 3 different types of cream cheese, strawberry, blueberry and onion no original. But I didn't complain, it's whatever. But then this morning my kids were making themselves bagels and Ben started scolding them for not using the correct cream cheese to go with the bagel. He's like, why would you even use strawberry cream cheese on an everything bagel? I bought the onion cream cheese for the everything bagels. Now what am I going to use on the cinnamon raisin bagels? Fruit cream cheese goes with these, not these. And he wasn't even really being nice about it either. I mean, he wasn't raising his voice, but it was the look on his face, and I was immediately turned off. It was my money that bought that food, but since he went and got it, apparently he feels like it's his too, and can dictate how my children eat it. Anyways, he left for work and I told him that this isn't going to work out because I can't handle his hang-ups with food. I explained it more detailed than that, listing everything I mentioned above and then some. Well, he says I'm really sorry. I have food insecurities. I know we can make this work. I will try harder to keep my mouth shut. But I couldn't get my daughter's face when he was scolding her out of my head and ultimately decided I could never chance that again and told him as much. He says he can't believe I'm throwing him away instead of trying to work on this. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole here for telling my sister-in-law off for continually commenting on my sister's appearance? I made this account a few days ago for a stupid joke, so I'm just going to use this one. Anyway, my sister-in-law Beth is plus-sized her terms. She doesn't really seem that overweight to me and has been on a continual weight loss journey for as long as I've known her. The problem is that she is always now talking about what my sister and I eat, that we don't exercise, unfair metabolism, etc. Like for example, we all had Christmas dinner together and when we ate dessert, she kept saying that she couldn't have any and it was unfair we could without worrying about the extra pounds. This is where I started to get mad because I then noticed my sister, who is 17 and very small, put her dessert down and stopped eating it. So then this weekend we were all at my mom's house and Beth starts talking about food again and then starts hyperanalyzing my little sister's body. I mean, taking her hand and putting it around my sister's arm and commenting that she could touch her fingers, saying don't worry, soon you'll get a woman body and you'll have fat thighs too, etc. I kind of lost my shit and asked to talk to her privately and not very nicely told her that she needs to stop projecting her issues with food onto the rest of us and asked if she's trying to fast-track my little sister to an eating disorder. I said her issue wasn't her weight, it was her crazy toxic mindset. Then I said something which I totally acknowledge was over the line. Beth and my brother have been trying for kids for a year or so, and I said if you ever have a daughter, you're going to give her your crazy or something. Now, I did not mean this to be a barb that she will never have children, but that's how she took it. Anyway, after that, she started crying and went to hide in the bathroom, and my brother asked what happened, and I told him, and he called me a "see you next Tuesday." I went to the bathroom door and apologized for the comment about kids, but I stand by the rest. Eventually, my sister and I left to go get some stuff, and when we got back, bro and sister-in-law were gone. We also talked about my sister being okay with setting boundaries, and it doesn't make her mean to say something when Beth is acting like that. Then I received a long-winded text from her saying I need to apologize not just for the kid comment but for all of it, and I said no bueno. My mom and bro are both pressuring me to apologize. My mom just wants to keep the peace. But my sister said thank you and she appreciates it, and I don't want to apologize, except for the kid remark, which I already did. Am I the asshole here?
Am I the asshole here? For not letting my friend and her kids stay with me. Because she shared my address with her abuser last time. I am friends with Jessica. We've been friends since university. Jessica has been married to Mike for 6 years now, and they have 3 children under 5 together. Mike has been abusive since they got married. He was the perfect angel of a boyfriend and did a complete 180. When they got married, he started physically abusing her, made her quit her job and financially control her. I've been supporting her in any way I could, since she confessed it to me, but as everyone knows, it isn't easy for a victim to leave their abuser, especially when they have young children together. A year ago, after a particularly horrible night of Mike physically abusing Jessica, she showed up at my door and asked me to help her. He kicked her out of the house and kept the children. We called the police, and when they showed up at their family home, Mike was gone and the children were alone, crying and neglected. The police got the children out and brought them back to Jessica. They were in the process of being assigned housing and money by the government to start a new life, but for a few days, they were staying at my house. 3 days after the incident, Jessica said she decided to go back to Mike and try again, because he sounds sincere about changing this time. I tried to discourage her from doing this since she was just about to get a new house and a better life for her kids, but she didn't listen to me. She gave Mike my home address and he came to pick them up. I was pissed off that she gave him the address because Mike is an abuser. I didn't want him knowing my address. They left, and much later that night, several of the windows in my house were shattered and so were the windows of my car. But nothing was stolen. I called the police, but since there was no CCTV evidence in the area I lived in, I have no information on who actually did it. But I know it was Mike. It's too much of a coincidence that all that happened the very night he found out my address. And clearly, the person wasn't trying to rob me because nothing was stolen. I have since moved houses. Anyway, not much has changed with Mike and Jessica. Yesterday, she asked me if she could come stay a few days with me because Mike has been drinking a lot. I told her I can help her look for an Airbnb or a hotel, and I'll cook for her and her children and help them with whatever else they need. She said she's anxious about staying at a place she isn't sure is safe. And my house is the only place she knows is safe because Mike doesn't know where it is. I said honestly, I'm terrified of him finding out my address again after what happened last time. She said she won't give him the address again. And I don't have to worry. This discussion went on for a while, but I made it clear that I am not comfortable with that. But I'll help her find somewhere she'd be comfortable in. She said she feels like I was the only person she could rely on. And I'm giving up on her too. She mentioned that Mike can't actually harm me because I'm not her. And that it says a lot that I'm worried about myself in this situation. I'm not sure if what happened last year is clouding my judgment. And I might be making a mistake here. But I also think it would just be stupid to make the same mistake. Am I the asshole here? For more stories, subscribe to our channel. And share your opinion in the comments.